All right, here's the thing with Trey Lance. Kidding. Nick Bosa. That story's old. This is new. This is going on. It is Tuesday morning. The 49ers play on Sunday. Mike Tomlin just spoke, said he's preparing for the Niners as if Nick Bosa is going to play because last year they had TJ Watt. On Wednesday night, they signed him. The season started on Thursday. They played Sunday. So the Niners, by that calendar, have 24 hours. But is Nick going to walk into Jed's office and say, let's get this done? No. So here's what RAPSHEET said today. And I have to adjust my prediction that I made the other day on the Bosa deal. I predicted 5 for 150. But what Ian Rappaport said about, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes ago, this is what he said. The 49ers offer is already over TJ Watt's deal. That's $28 million a year. He's going to be the highest paid pass rusher. The question is, does he beat Aaron Donald's contract? Okay, we already had established that. $31.7 million a year is what Aaron Donald's making. So that's why we say, give him $32 million. Give him $32 million and call it a day. But apparently it's not that simple. Because what RAPSHEET says, this is the complicating factor. It says that when Aaron Donald did his deal, he also had a $5 million roster bonus for not retiring. And that $5 million got spread out over the 3 years of his contract. So that his contract was not actually $31.7 million per year and 3 for 95. His contract was actually $33.3 million per year and 3 for 100. That's what RAPSHEET says the issue is. He called it, it's complicated trying to figure out where Donald's contract came in. But if we have that information and say it was 5 over 3 years, spread it out, then that tells us that Bosa wants at least 33.4. Let's call it $34 million over 5 years, 170. And since he says they're not over the Donald number yet, but they're over the Watt number, we can say 130. Maybe they're at 32. Maybe they're at 32. Maybe they're like, Aaron Donald got 31.7. We're offering you 32. That's 160 million. And they say, well, no, he got that $5 million roster bonus. So he actually got 33.3. He actually got 100 million. So we want 34. Now we're at 170 for the Bosas and 160 for the Niners. 160 for the Niners, which is 32.5. 170 for the Bosas, which is 34 times 5. And that's where you get to about when people say, they're about $2 million apart per year. Well, there's your $2 million. So I think RAPSHEET just illuminated it a little bit. And there hasn't been an ounce of any indication that they're going to compromise, that the Bosas will compromise. RAPSHEET, MIDDLEKAUFF and I are going to go live in a few hours, midday West Coast Tuesday, and we'll talk more about it. But RAPSHEET keeps hammering this thing of if anybody's going to stick to what they believe they're worth, it's the Bosas. If anybody's going to stick to what they believe they're worth, it's the Bosas. It's the Bosas. It's the Bosas. It's the Bosas. So the Bosas really want us to believe that it's the Bosas. He just keeps saying it. He keeps saying it. So that's really what they want us to believe. It's Tuesday. They're lucky they're not the Chiefs who have Chris Jones holding out, but they play Thursday. They're very lucky they're not the Chiefs. So there's your, it's a great deal. So a great deal is on the table. I mean, it's all great deals. It's 100, and it's going to end up being, I think, like $115 million guaranteed, 120 practical guarantees. That's my guess. That was my guess the other day with 87 fully guaranteed. So it's all a good deal. But he wants the biggest deal, and they can't agree on what Aaron Donald's deal was because of that extra money that he got. So there it is, 170 and 160. That's the difference. So they're both good deals. Yeah, I mean, Michael, any concern the leaks are becoming a thing for the Niners? Used to be commonplace pre-Lynch Shanahan. I'm not concerned because it feels as though both sides but it's a good point, right? Because they both said no one's saying a peep. And now, as we've gotten to the end of this thing, both sides are doing just a little bit of manipulating. Athletic Diana which is a way better nickname than NBC Diana. She just tweeted something that felt like it came from the Niners, or reported something that felt like it came from the Niners. RAPSHEET, to me, has been doing the Bosa stuff. Breer the other day said they're about $2 million apart, but then said, no, I'm just reading the tea leaves. That's not a report, that's analysis. So it feels like they're both kind of letting just a little out, but it's not getting weird in the sense that like they're saying the Bosas are being unreasonable on one side, or the Niners are being cheap on the other side. Or, Nick would prefer to be traded. You're not getting any of that. So I think it's an appropriate level of, this is Kawakami had a good article about this. This is a desperate situation. And what Kawakami wrote was, well, because the Bosa rep is that he stays in shape, and Debo's rep, well, that he doesn't. The Niners didn't have as much urgency with Bosa because they felt like whenever he gets here, he'll be ready to roll. He'll be fine. And that maybe that gave them a little too much comfort that this situation would just take care of itself. Yeah, I agree. It was very good. Is it 50-50 on the line without him versus Pitt? Well, should have had more pressure earlier. Yeah, I agree. Between this and the Trey situation, Maurice, they're lucky they're not the Chiefs. I don't think that should ever be said ever. You know what, Maurice? Good correction. It's a good point. You would take the Chiefs' problems. I agree. If you had to guess, is he playing Sunday? Yes. My guess is yes. Bosa's doing nothing wrong. I don't think he plays week 1. Bosa's really letting his teammates down. I do think it'll be interesting what I think it gets in and we forget about this ever happened. But if it drags, I mean, you do have a team full of guys who they didn't take team-friendly deals just to do the team a solid, right? Kittle is probably your primary example. But, so maybe they look at it like, hey, man, other than Trent, like Debo wanted more, made it difficult. Ayuk's going to want it. Maybe they're just on Bosa's side. Daniel says Pittsburgh plus 2.5 looking awfully good right now. Well, Pittsburgh plus 2.5 should look good to you, whether Bosa's playing or not. Pittsburgh was 10-6-1 against the spread last year, 6th best in the NFL. They have 30 wins the last 3 years. Only the Chiefs and Bills have won more games than the Steelers in the last 3 seasons. They haven't won a playoff game in, 6-7 years, but fans saying trade Bosa, fake fans. I don't know about what makes you a real fan or a fake fan, but your team gets worse. If this is your Super Bowl window, it closes a little bit if you don't have Nick Bosa on the team. Because here's my thing with Nick too, is like, can they make an NFC Championship game without Nick Bosa? Yeah, I think they can. Can they beat Mahomes or Burrow or Josh Allen without Nick Bosa? I don't think they can. Like, if you're not going to have a quarterback as good as that quarterback or close to as good as that quarterback, then you have to have a guy on your team that can make the great quarterback a little less great. And that's what Nick Bosa does. Always going to be a complicated negotiation. Not ideal to miss a game or two, but as long as he's healthy for the stretch run, yeah, if you could guarantee me right now he's healthy, then we could do all kinds of things, right? J-Ran? But that's the thing. It's like, he's going to sign, I think, this week. He's going to sign a massive contract. He's going to get more than they wanted to give him. And then we'll all hold our breath when he steps on the field on Sunday that he's okay. But Nick's injury history, and he has one, I don't think is related to preparation. So I think I'm just constantly worried about him getting hurt, period, because he's been hurt before. Multiple knee injuries, the stomach injury. So, not all of them have happened as a Niner, but I'm concerned about his health, just period. But there's no evidence that his health is related. His health issues are related to whether or not he is in every practice, or, I don't think anyone's ever thought his injuries have come as a result of the fact that he hasn't been ready to play. So, as long as he doesn't show up with a pot belly, then I guess we're okay. Middlekoff is texting me right now saying he's down to go at 11:30 this morning Pacific. So we'll do that. We'll go at 11:30 a.m. this morning. Lynch and Shanahan have been pumping this contract up in the media all year. Nick is calling their bluff. Yeah, they've said a lot of, it's fine. It's going to be fine. Nick's like, going to be fine? Yeah, it'll be fine. When you pay me what I want, it'll be fine. Give him what he wants, Jesus. It appears that the front office is so confident signing Bosa, they didn't have a backup plan to draft anyone. Shake my head. You know, I don't know what your backup plan can be. Your plan needs to be, I don't think there is a backup plan for replacing Nick. Your plan is have Nick. You drafted him. He's the best player on your team, maybe, probably. And doesn't mean he's the most valuable, but he's, top ranked. I think McCaffrey. But I don't know what you could have done. Even had you drafted somebody like this year's version of Drake Jackson, you're not replacing Nick Bosa with that. Maybe you could argue you should have signed somebody. But your plan should be have your best player on defense on the field. That's what your plan should be. Got to have him. There's no backup plan that makes you good enough to replace Nick Bosa. Oh, I didn't forget, Brian. Nick got clipped on the opening kickoff. I didn't forget. I'll tell you why I didn't forget. Because Saturday night, I was doing the Pac-12 Network postgame show, and I'll do it again this Saturday night. So watch it and send me pictures of me. And we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, like 8 or 10 TVs. And Saturday night, the games start winding down. So you've got like the same game on 2 or 3 TVs. I'm sitting there watching. And in the upper left-hand corner, whatever game was on Fox ends. And I see the local, I think it was Fox, Fern Glenn comes on, sports anchor. And he's like, it's muted, but I can tell he's got like a red polo on. He's like, all right, happy Saturday night. We're going to show you Niners Cowboys from last year again. It's like, oh, okay. So they show us Niners Cowboys. I start watching that. And then you start going down the rabbit hole, watch a little of the Eagles game. And you're like, oh yeah, Bosa got rolled up on the sideline or whatever that was. So I'm with you, Brian. Always on high alert. Always on high alert for that. All right, got to roll. If you're watching this live, then in about an hour and a half, 11:30, be back live on the channel, get Middlekoff's take on this, and talk about a bunch of other stuff. And as always, we appreciate if you like this video, subscribe to the channel. If you want to catch the podcast version of the stuff we do, it's in the description of this video. And don't forget, we are sponsored by Tito's Handmade Vodka, crafted to be savored responsibly. Tito's Handmade Vodka goes great with anything. Enjoy it this week. Football is here. A lot to talk about. Will Bosa be? We'll talk about it more. Maybe we'll have news. Who knows? I feel like there's going to be news here in the next couple of days. Report. But we'll be back 11:30 Pacific. And if it's much later than that, then you can go watch that video too and hear us talk about more of this stuff. All right. Thanks for hanging, everybody. Appreciate the quick video, and talk to you later. Bye.